Okay, so I was thinking about everything as a whole. Um, so again, I said before on my last video that I talk amongst um individuals that are not in the scene world. Like how you can walk up to somebody physical to physical and see them. You know, um, and so again, like I was saying last time, it's different levels to strength. Is different levels to be able to um, see. Different things, different layers. And so right now I'm dealing with a lot of individuals talking at me. They have the option to not just talk at me. But I don't know. Some of them are. They like every regular people. You get what I'm saying? These is not ghosts. They not demons. Some of them. And then again, I've had my own little encounters with things that are considered, passed away individuals. And so we go through a series of things that we talk about, we speak on, and one of the ones that keep coming up is we're seeing the videos. So it's getting irritating because everybody is talking about how things could possibly change, as things move forward, from day to day. And is when you talk about politics, it's kind of irritating because when you go and you look at, like, for instance, it is November the 9th, 2023. A lot of people are talking about the elections rolling back around. There's a lot of people on the other side that are talking about the politics stuff too. And they don't get how there are other systems that are supposed to be already put in play and set in play for the individuals on the other side of existence. What does that mean? That means the side of existence where you no longer are represented in a body. Like, when you represent yourself, you walk up to somebody direct, you showcase your body. Now, this is not to say, because these things do reveal themselves. Like, they do have a choice to reveal themselves completely as soon as you see them, and then some things they can change over time. I further what change, they can change, excuse me. I'll further explain it in a separate video. But okay, so just speaking on the, they don't understand how is it that there are people who have said again and again and again and again that there are different systems that they want in place to keep them safe, to keep their family safe. When you're dealing with things like people being pushed off the property that they have been living on for a long time, 20 plus, 50 plus, so the different systems in place. And then or how the food is made at schools, the fact that um kids, we want the kids to be safe. We want them to be able to eat healthy. We want to know that no one is doing anything harmful to the food, and not only that, um what was being said, we want to make sure nothing is only not only that, it's why is there a big need for those systems to change? Now, it's different if, say, there's a fluctuation where there's a shortage of food and you have to figure out a system aside from being able to massively gather from different areas, what areas of food is contaminated and what areas are not contaminated, who are trustworthy companies, different things like that, right? And so they want to make sure that there are certain systems that they feel like, why is it you continuously change them after 5 or so, 5 or so years? And so it's irritating, because there are certain laws, like for instance, safety. Who can and can't just walk up in your house? You get what I'm saying? Who can and can't just force their way onto your property? Who can and can't just force their way on your personal body? And under what circumstances, like for instance, medical evaluation to being detained for I don't say if you're being detained because there is a call out to the police department. They're looking for somebody who matches a certain type of description, or whether it's you or not. These are things that individuals keep complaining about. But see, that's the thing. People oftentimes don't think about all of the things that you think about on this side of life, the physical side of life, and how it affects the people on the other side of life. What systems would you have in place to keep all of you all safe if things start to shift? And it's crazy because things do shift a whole lot when you think of people going into war. Everybody knows that there is a big shift that occurs when you go into war. What systems do you have in place? And again, locking these systems in place. Now, updating these systems over time, I don't see anything wrong with like adding on new things, as things progress. Like for instance, you go back 50 plus years ago, technology is more advanced on more massive wide scales than it was 50 years ago. And so with that being said, there are more dangers. Like if you know technology, you can set off certain electrons in a phone to blow a phone up if you know what you're doing. People use spyware in different mechanisms when they make them, and it's so microscopic, you can't even see them, And again, what is being put in different things like the water supply. If there's individuals that vote on these systems, I don't understand. Now, again, I don't have a problem with updating them like, okay, well, this needs to be added in, this needs to be added in, not necessarily changed unless it's something that is harmful. But just to say, oh, well, it's new Senate, it's new Congress voted in, and so the rules have changed with the Congress that is voted in. I think that is really wrong. And two, when you talk about things like, for instance, the schools and stuff, a lot of people's kids go to private schools. So you're not living the same lifestyle as a person, an individual whose child goes to public school. How are you getting to decide what happens to their kids from day to day? You don't even have to deal with the stresses of what happens to them day to day. Like, there is a lot of good people. I don't want to mistake that. It's well known. There is a lot of good individuals, on both sides, that don't mind having a passion in a positive way, in a good way, that is about helping everyone and getting everyone what their needs met, the requirements of really what is need, necessities, met. And then, you have other individuals who just like the vibe of being able to have say so, or they have, oh, well, their family was a certain thing for a long time, and so that's why they're in the rotation of doing the job again and again. But again, that compassion, the consideration, the love for what you do, and just making sure it's something, if it was to affect you, you would want it to be a certain way, and you would want everything to be up to par. If you have a stable mindset, if you have a good rationalization with the way that you do things, and it's a lot of individuals who have the concept of out of sight, out of mind, or it's not your life, so it's not affecting you directly, so you don't take as much precaution when dealing with different situations. And I think that is very wrong. If there were separate systems and then a collaboration system with again, you live two totally different types of lives, based on, again, things like you live in a private community. Because let's be real about it. There are private communities that have their own set governing system, their own set rule systems. There are whole communities of individuals that are separated from people based off of different belief systems, and they have certain things set in place just in case disasters happen, just in case there is a fluctuation within resources, and whether it be food, whether it be shelter, who would be the next person they would go and get stuff from. So they have all these different systems set up, but they're locked in, is the point that I'm trying to make. There are a lot of different systems that have fluctuated over time that are not locked in, that should be locked in. And again, a lot of systems that they put into play that needs to be done away with, that people tend to continuously complain about, stop trying to re-implement them when you see that there are individuals complaining, especially when there are enough smart enough individuals that really care, really have that compassion again for what they do, and they're smart enough to come up with new things. It's not just a over glorification process, and what was being said. And so it was being said. So again, these individuals who don't have their own, physical body, they speak on these things too. These things do not escape their intelligence, their awareness, just because they have moved into a different type of form. Form meaning like a different type of existence. They're no longer in a physical body. Now they're out of their physical body. But still, what would be, like talking about how there are whole communities, with systems in place, like if they ever have to collaborate with other communities, who gets what, how much of what do you get, when they do come together in that collaboration. If things ever advance in a very fast major way, then they already have plans that they have talked about that are set in place for them to be able to have what they need, whether it's to protect themselves, whatever. Again, when you think of these two worlds merging again, what are the things that you want set in place? Because again, the thought of speaking to past loved ones is supposed to be a norm. You're supposed to, and this is something that I knew young, when I was really little. You're supposed to be able to speak to your loved ones from day to day. But what is it that gives another individual more say so than the other ones? And again, speaking to the individuals on the other side, they've already said they're not doing it based on strength. They're not doing it based on tug of war. They're doing it based on the same way you would have to do a voting system, or, the same way you pick the person with, the most knowledge, or not only that, somebody that, well, not somebody, an individual who you think would have full on caution as to, not being quick to make rash decisions. They actually put true thought into what they're doing. They put consideration into what they're doing. So again, these are the individuals that they want in place to help with controlling these systems that do not put, the physical in fight or frenzy or chaos with the energy, the conscious living energy realm, in a fight with the physical, realm. I don't know. Well, some people want to call it, it's not a realm really, because when you talk about realms, I'm sorry, getting kind of thrown off by other individuals. It's not really a realm. It's a, because when you think about realms, that's like another dimension would be like a realm, you know. And so it's not the same. It's like being in one place and then being in another. It's more so being what is it? Just, a different kind of, you can't see them, but they're still there. They're still able to think. They're still able to speak. And every individual should be able to speak for themselves on what they do and do not like. They don't want to, pull on individuals because they won't want anything to pull on them. And again, so you have to go back into my last video because I do, and I will further with the next few videos go into a deeper description of, different things as far as, as far as just the different things in the other side of existence. So let me see. I'm trying to see if there. So again, what is the cautionary journey of your existence? What are the different ways that you should be cautious, in the physical, and what are the plans for when you move on to that next stage of existence? Because this is something that doesn't escape anybody. And again, there are supposed to be specific individuals that are set in place, but they are not the only individuals. It would be dumb. Like, for instance, there are so many different individuals who have went to colleges, and some have studied with scholars, some have homeschooled, in different ways, to have different certificates for, like, being a judge, being a lawyer, being, all these different positions. And you would not choose based on, oh well, we only picking these individuals because they live here. Now you might pick them because they live in a certain area, and okay, whatever happens in that area affects them as well, but you're not going to solely choose somebody based off of the area you live in, especially when you're talking about things that have to deal with a more vast scale of a larger area. It has an effect on more, a bigger range of area for different individuals. But the thing is, they're saying they know that there is a lot of things that it is being calculated over time, that a lot of different individuals have said they do not like, they disagree with. They don't want it to actively affect their children, especially, or their families, especially if you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, especially if you're following the rules, especially if you're you're helping people. You're truly, truly trying to help. You get what I'm saying? They don't want to get these people caught up just because certain people have an addiction to telling people what to do, or being overly controlling, or you have an addiction to being overly glorified, but then you don't put in the work for what is needed. And again, it's okay to say, okay, well, you've done a good job. And this was something also that I learned young too. It's okay to say, you did a good job at whatever specific job that you're doing. But when you've let it get to your sense of thinking in a way where now you're making irrational choices because of the fact that you want to be stuck in your way because you want to be self-serving, then it becomes a problem for everyone. And the thought of, oh well, it's not gonna be something that's easy, or it's not gonna be something that what's the word, It's not going to be something that's easy, or it's not going to be something that, um, well, again, individuals do what they want to do. And again, for the individuals that are standing in the way, that don't want to put in the work, that don't care, again, separate yourselves. You are openly being asked to remove yourself. If you and this group of people form a community, and again, everybody's not going to go with specific groups based off of, oh, you were born first, or oh, you got to a certain equation first, a certain, mathematical equation first, or you're stronger, or oh, well, you lived in this specific area. Because why? You block out, especially when you're talking about heightening yourself intellectual wise, and also getting to know different individuals. You're blocking yourself off from good individuals, good, relationships, bonds. That's what I mean when I say bonds, relationships. And you're missing out on those things, and then you're forcing other individuals who aren't doing anything wrong, who can really be a help and not a hindrance, where your sense of thinking has become a hindrance. And so, your sense of, need for, self glorification. It's whether people want to admit to it or not, whether individuals want to admit to it or not, it is a nuisance. It's a hindrance. You don't want it to be a sense of reality. You don't want it to become an everyday thing that it's a habit now. It's repetitive. It's on repeat. Again, to fight away those things that are not needed. So we can get to bettering ourselves. No one is above correction. No one is above, receiving help, or being told that you're doing too much when it's causing harm to the multitude of individuals. And again, life existence is about more than just one specific group. Again, it's about all of us. And they were saying, they don't like the thought of being hindered based upon skin color. They never liked it when they were in their own bodies. Not only that, they don't like the thought of there are different individuals, without a hidden agenda that I can partake in being friends with, being family with, enjoying just, us being in the same space together, and, creating together, collaborating, making something new, or strengthening, different systems and making them better. I'm missing out on that, trying to be stuck in one mindset. They don't want to imprison. It's like a different form of imprisonment to agree to that state of it is something that could become a everyday reality when it's repeated. You get what I'm saying? But they don't want to agree to that being their reality. That is not something that they want for the future, because it hinders growth, especially if you're not willing to be truthful with yourself. You're not willing to be honest, and again, that's you saying you on your own as an individual, on your own. And so they talked about, so again, how do these things affect you when it comes to food, clothes, just your needs for life: food, clothes, water, safety, there are different things that they are aware that does not affect them. Like, they don't need food every day. Now, this is not to say if there is another, like, say for instance, how we label, again, I said it on a previous video, how we label different creatures or different animals, because they have a way of, it's different creatures or, animals that are transparent. They still need to feed. You get what I'm saying? So again, they know the difference between that and being in the type of existence that they are in, the type of form that they are in right now. They don't need water. They don't need clothes. They don't need a house to stay in. But safety. To be able to freely go wherever it is that you need to go. To be able to talk to your family and your loved ones, why not? Again, and not, being tricked by something that's trying to say that it's something that it really is not, And so, again, they know about all of these things. These things don't just disappear because, again, you have moved on into the next journey of existence. Like, we always talk about a little bit of everything, from sexual standards to world war battles, and they don't want to be at war or in a fight or tricking people. They think that there are multiple numbers of individuals that will be brave enough and bold enough if you just ask them, well, this, and this needs to be done. These individuals have undergone testing, study, and they are perfect for the job of handling certain specific tasks. And so we need you temporarily to, undergo a study or undergo, a living in a certain specific way so that we can see the effects of it. Or, well, really, we talked about on the previous video, all the data has been collected. They really don't need a lot of that. It's just, there are different individuals who have the information. And again, so it's more so about the collaboration and how to be able to safely exchange different information in ways that are not going to be harmful. Again, you don't want to make an exchange with somebody who sense of sanity is like off balanced, no matter how luxurious their life seems, still, if they have a sense of imbalance with the way that they act or react, or conduct themselves, it doesn't matter if it's people who live in a bigger house or a smaller house. If it's massive amounts of people, individuals, let anything happen energy shift wise, it can still take a major effect. And so, that's what we were speaking on yesterday. I'm trying to find a quote. I wrote it down so I didn't forget, but and so these things do take an effect, and so to think that it's just gonna go away if you ignore it, it's not gonna go away if you ignore it. And these things need to be, they need to be handled. I'm trying to see if I want to do this all in one video. Okay, I go up to 53 minutes. It's at 34 minutes right now. So Let me see. So again, on the last video, like different things that we know, both individuals on both sides of existence would be irritated about, because we have things like clinics that we go to, to make sure you're healthy, to clean yourself out, to make sure you're cured of whatever disease. You think they don't worry about those things? On the other side, they do. So again, that self-care, the boundaries, giving these different types of, things that exist as well. um you know Giving them, hold on, I'm being pulled on, give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we talked about this yesterday. um Giving them their boundaries and telling them, um again, I spoke on this in another video. Their limits of what, they can and can't do, and they don't need a fun time of, oh well, like, oh okay, well, everybody is openly fighting, and there's hardly anybody majorly getting locked up, and they're allowed to shoot and kill and maim and lock up and kidnap who they want to. No, they don't need that. That is they need to have limits. They need to have boundaries, and just to think that, you should have a say so based upon, how flashy your aesthetics is dumb. Anybody could be, especially when you're talking about intellect, especially when you're talking about that essence that we all individually are, and the growth process and how it happens. You're gonna, block yourself off from getting the help you need from the correct individuals when it's needed, when you don't let everyone participate. And I think it's a test of arrogance as well too. And so again, they have awareness of these things. So, we talked about, different types of life forms, because people have talked openly about, the thought of different life forms on other planets, other doorways, gates, wormholes, portals, realms. But I want you to, for a second, think of everything that we have in this existence, on this planet, that we can physically see. Now, the thought of heightening them, whether it's in the way that they are able to think, comprehend, and respond, and or if they were ever heightened in size, or capacities to walk upright, what would be their thought process, and how would they take effect on what is considered to be people? If they're bigger, stronger, if they can express their emotions, they think better, what would they do? What would they say? And again, they have different things in place already. Like, they have police for dogs, they have lawsuits for animals for neglect, they have shelters for them. They have so many things in place to protect them. So again, if you're talking about heightening people just because some individuals want to get specific jobs locked in for themselves based on strength, or being older, or coming together before other individuals, you have to realize that there are other things in existence too. And they might feel the same way. So it's just like, be careful on what you agree to. Because, again, the thought of mixing all these things together and, everything that you could think of, everything from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. If um, if you mix these things together, how would it affect them from day to day? And again, what is the laws that should be set in place to make sure that these things don't interfere with us, in massive ways that are, harmful. So there are already rules set in place that have been for a long time, and they've been waiting for us to catch up. And the thing is, this is why we don't see ourselves massively getting attacked, like we were, saying on the last video, because there are already systems in place. There is already individuals trying to keep a balance on how things go, so that it keeps everybody safe. They were just waiting on everybody to catch up, and also to moving forward in this way, we really need those individuals to be actively in motion, the ones who are very, very considerate of each level, um you know in how everything affects everyone. What is your thought on, value, um worth, and how do you, scale it? How do you deal with it? How do you make it a set thing? Again, some people see value as monetary, or how much control you can have over something, is another sense of, value. That is one thing that is universal. No one likes to be overly abused, whether you're in a major group or whether you're not. No one wants to be overly just tossed around here and there. No one wants to be overly controlled. No one. And so, again, on the last video, we spoke about what is value. Like, again, specific characteristics are considered to be high value as well, too, and so, again, still, systems in place that keep everybody safe. Because, again, if you're infected in some way, if you're unstable in some way, you don't want to give a high energy source to someone who can't even rationalize things that should be very simple. Again, the sense of safety and all the different ways that we can go about keeping everyone safe has already been calculated and added up. This is not something that should be being played with back and forth. Again, a set system that everyone agrees on, and keep it that way, and stop playing with it. Again, if it has to be updated in ways of bettering it, then okay, but not changing it just because you want to nitpick, or just because you didn't get certain advances, or just because you're bored with yourself, just because you feel like, oh, it's your birthright. Like, no, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And so, again, they have realization for it. It's more so about the best individual to be put in these positions. So, again, something that is high in value is safety. Safety is high in value. and your thought processing on what is safe. Because again, your actions, every action is going to get an equal or more heightened reaction. If you're not accountable for your actions or prevention of others' actions, you can't say that, if you've gotten the opportunity to ensure things for everybody and you miss a few spots just because you were caught up in arrogance, and then it hits and backfires on you when you had the chance to fix it, then that is, it's your fault. You were being ignorant. You were choosing to, be ignorant, unless there is something on you that has you bound up in a way, pinned or bound up in a way where you cannot say what it is that you need. You can't represent yourself. And so, again, there's stuff over here that's going on internally. We'll talk about it on another video, though. But do everybody agree with, No, they don't agree with binding and pinning people, individuals that don't need to be, especially if they're high in value of what is needed. They're a help and not a hindrance, especially if they can be a asset, an ally, a help, again, a friend, a mentor, someone that is best for those positions, even when you don't want to hear it. And that's the thing. Sometimes, even when you don't want to hear it, that is care, that is considered, that is part of care, consideration, and what is best. So again, what are the thoughts again? You all need to be being more open again. What the thoughts of unsafety and the different things and processing, different systems. What is real worth when choosing these people? What is real value when choosing these different individuals? Because you need that mathematical smarts and recognition, realization, characteristics, attributes, core values. Those are things that individuals don't openly speak about, but those are things that are also very heavily being monitored. And so again, everyone might not have the aesthetics to match, but the fact is, if you still exist, there is always a time to better yourself, get the education that you did not have before. And and it might just be simple as, they lack the resources, or maybe they might be in a situation where they're pinned or bound. I'll have another video of what it means to be pinned and or bound, and what it means. And again, so these things are important. We're not gonna act as though they're not. And so it's just an old saying that they used to say for the kids: don't judge a book by its cover. You never know who is needed and why.